Hey, welcome back. And in this video, I'm going to tell you guys and break down step by step exactly how I was able to exit production as a real estate agent and do it profitably. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mikesh, where I'm sharing with you all of the strategies, tools, and systems that I use to grow and scale my real estate business. So in this video, I'm going to show you a graphic that's going to help illustrate as I walk you through and talk you through the steps that I took to exit production, but do it profitably. So have a look at this. So in this graph, it shows buyers, sellers, and business. And that is the allocation or the amount of time that I was spending, whether I was working on buyers in my business, working on sellers, doing the seller side or the listing side, and then also working on the operations and the marketing of the business so that I could grow and scale it to more agents. So in step one, I spent about 60% of my time working with buyers. This is where I was just starting to get a team around me. I had a couple people that were just looking for some extra leads, and I had an abundance of leads at this time. We were going through the financial crisis of 2007 through 10, and really it was just a difficult time for a lot of agents, and I had figured some things out because of the coaching and training that I was doing in order to be able to generate this overflow of leads. I was spending about 20% of my time with sellers, but I had a bigger vision for what was possible and where I was going to take this. I knew right out of the gates, even that early on, that I wanted to build a real estate business where it wasn't just all about me or all on my shoulders. So the very next step I took was I made a full-on commitment to give away all of the buyers. At this point, I had about 3 to 4 people on my real estate team, mainly doing buyers and some of their own sellers that they were working with. And I decided I'm going to give away 100% of the buyers that I work with. And it really, in my opinion, takes this full-on commitment. That means that if you go out to list your friend's home and they say, hey, awesome, we're excited to sell because we want to also buy, we want to upgrade our house and we want to buy another house and we want you to help us. That full-on commitment meant that I would say to them at that point, hey, listen, I love you guys, I love working with you guys, and I'm gonna do an amazing job at selling your home and making sure that we get every dollar that's available to you so you don't leave anything on the table. But in order for me to be able to do that and serve you at the highest level as your listing agent, I'm gonna ask that you work with one of my great agents on my team who are better gonna be able to serve you to get the right property and get you into that next home. I promise they'll do a great job, and I promise I'll be right beside them every step of the way. And if you have any questions or you wanna run anything by me, feel free to call me, but they are going to be helping you go out and look at some of these properties. Now, cut for a second, just know that it takes that level of communication and understanding for them to be okay with it, but also for you to step away from it. So, I just made that full commitment. With very rare exception, did anybody have a problem with that? And if somebody object and say, well, we worked with you, we want to work with you on the buy side, I would just say, well, fortunately from great clients like yourself and many others that I've worked with, we've been able to scale this real estate business to the point where in order for us to continue to do the job that you expect of us or the job I did for you last time, it's imperative that, you work with one of my team members, because let's imagine that we're out looking at properties and an agent calls, that wants to ask about your property or may have questions about it or may want to get their buyer in. Well, if I'm out showing you houses, I can't exactly answer and respond to the same way that I can if my sole dedication is on helping sellers just like you get as much money as possible. And usually when you explain it to them that way, like, hey, I can't be in 2 places at once. I'm sure you want a good job done for you on the buy side. I know you want a good job done for you on the sell side. And in order to give you that level of service and that level of attention, we need to have people that are monitoring 100% of those activities. So typically when I'd say it like that, they were fine with it. I actually can't remember a single instance where somebody was upset that they weren't going to work with me in the old capacity and didn't want to work with me in the future. So I think it's a lot about your tonality and how you're able to articulate and position that in order for you to show them that that's in their best interest. So step 2, I'm 100% working, not working with buyers. And I'm spending about 60% of my time at this point working on sellers. and another 40% of my time working on the business. So now it's starting to become more significant. I got more agents. The agents are getting busy with their buyer deals, and I'm doing more listings, which is adding, additional, people leverage and things that I need in place to service those listings. At this time, we added a courier as well because of the amount of listings that we were carrying. On any given point, we were carrying, 30 plus listings. And the way that we were servicing them and at a high level, it just required that. So we added a courier that would go around and do property checks and things like that. It also allowed me to really go even deeper and push the gas even more on the marketing. Now, once we got to step 3, it was 100% of the buyers still going out to the agents on the team. But this is the key. I added a listing partner that was helping me on the listing side. So this person would essentially do everything other than go out to the listing appointment and take the listing. And in the beginning, negotiate the listings. So what that allowed me to do is it allowed me to get even more listings because I had more people leverage in this area and I could handle more, but it also allowed me to work even more on the business. So instead of spending 60% of my time with listings and 40% of my time on the business, I was able to flip-flop that and now scale the business even more. And I think this was, as I look back, it was really critical to my growth because this is what gave me that final push to get out of production, but do it profitably. Because I was able to increase my listing count, because I was able to service more listings, I was able to do that in a way that was very profitable. It pushed me forward to that next and final hurdle. Now, when I was in this stage 3 of exiting my production, what happened was I had so much trust and I was working so closely with this listing partner that eventually we just got to a point where this person could respond and answer things the same way I could because they were shadowing me and they were with me all the time on the listings. So much so that I remember the catalyst that helped me really take that next step was I was on vacation and my wife and I, we went backpacking and we were literally unplugged. So we were gone for a whole week and we had all these listings and I had told all my clients, hey, I'm going to be away. Andrew's going to help you while we're gone and he's going to do a great job. And they already knew him because they were already working closely with him for all other things and aspects of the listing other than the listing appointment and the listing negotiations. Now, when I was away, we got several offers that came in on listings and Andrew just ran with it and just negotiated them out. And all the clients were happy. They were excited about the results they got on their property. And it was very eye-opening to me because when I returned from vacation, I expected I was going to have to negotiate a bunch of contracts. And he said, no, man, they're all done. This is what we accepted on this. And I was like, wait a minute. What did you negotiate? And tell me step by step, play by play, how that went. And when he did that, it was really funny because he did all the same things that I would have done. He said all the same things I would have done because he had been mirroring and watching me for so long. So I was super proud of him in that moment. And it was also a light bulb moment for me too, because I said, okay, now I can go out and I can just list the property and I can let my listing partner do everything else. And that's essentially what we did. And that made it an easy segue for us to go to the 4th and final step of exiting production profitably, which was I gave away all the buyers, I gave away all the sellers, and I was able to service a lot more people because my sole focus was on growing and scaling the company and the marketing and putting the right people in place with the right operational policies, procedures, skills, tools, things like that. And I really think that what happens with a lot of teams is they're not likely to give this step up and they stay in the game all the time. And there was a time where I thought I would never get out of production. I love it. It lights me up. I feel validated. I feel worthy because I'm doing all these deals and I'm making people happy, which I like to do. But ultimately, what brought me the most fulfillment was seeing other people step into those roles and being able to be a leader of leaders and teach those people how to do it as well and get out of the way. And ultimately what we were able to do was scale to a level that I could have never scaled if I would have kept myself in production. But the key here is to do it gradually and to make sure that you're taking yourself out of the equation as you scale the business that the company or the team is doing in order to do it profitably. So at each one of these steps, I took myself out, but we were scaling up. So profitability continued to go up even as I continued to take myself more and more out of the equation. So I hope that helps for you. In a future video, I'll break down exactly what team splits were and how we did that and what that structure looked like there. But this will give you a good overview of what I think is a very safe and reliable way to get yourself out of production profitably. If this was helpful for you, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll be sharing a lot more tips like this in the future on upcoming videos.